Hey, what's going on? It is yours truly, Timothy J. Jones. Thank you for stopping by the State of the NFL podcast. I ask that you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. This is a channel where we talk about some of the hottest topics in all of the NFL. Hey, what's going on, sports fans? My name is TJ Jones. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the NFL podcast, a podcast where we talk about some of the hottest topics in all of the National Football League. And before we get started, just like I always say, hit the like and subscribe button. It helps the channel to grow, and I would really appreciate that. On this edition, we're going to be talking about quarterback Shedeur Sanders, and we're going to be answering the question, did the NFL conspire against Shedeur Sanders? Now, this has been a topic of conversation since Shedeur Sanders was drafted by the Cleveland Browns in the 5th round a couple of months ago. Everybody has their views about Shedeur Sanders and the way the draft process went for the rookie. Now, Dan Patrick, a very famous, well-respected media personality, he has his own podcast, and he had legendary running back Eric Dickerson on the podcast. And Eric Dickerson made some very controversial comments that involved Shedeur Sanders in the draft process. He said that the NFL told teams, do not draft him. By him, he means Shedeur Sanders. We're going to make an example out of him. He added that this information came from a very good source who told him that someone specifically called the Cleveland Browns and told them, don't do it, don't draft him. Now, we know that the Cleveland Browns ended up drafting Shedeur Sanders, but they ended up drafting a quarterback before him in Dylan Gabriel, the quarterback out of Oregon. But the question is, once again, did the NFL conspire against Shedeur Sanders? And my answer to that is water wet? Is grass green? Does a cat say meow? Does a dog say woof? Of course, there was collusion that took place. And the reason why Shedeur Sanders was drafted in the 5th round. Shedeur Sanders, regardless to how you may feel about him, you can say that he's not that good. You can say that, oh man, there's something that's missing. You can say all of those things. But one thing that you have to admit, the fact that he was a 5th round pick was absolutely wrong. And you have to believe that something went on behind the scenes that prohibited him from hearing his name called much earlier in the draft process. Now, you're not going to tell me that a guy with these type of accolades don't deserve to hear their name called at least in the first 2 or 3 rounds, okay? These are his accolades. In his collegiate career, Shedeur Sanders played in 50 games. He threw for 14,353 yards, 134 touchdowns, 27 interceptions, 70.1% completion percentage. He threw a touchdown in 49 consecutive games. It's a Division I record. He's one of 2 quarterbacks in Division I history to have over 14,000 passing yards with a completion percentage of 70. His career quarterback rating is 156.1, ranked 8th all time for quarterbacks with at least 13,000 passing yards. I say that to say this. The guy deserved to hear his name called much earlier. And you have to believe that it had a lot to do with the draft process. I was actually at the combine, and I heard the whispers about Shedeur Sanders and some of the interviews and how he rubbed teams the wrong way, the way that he approached the process. And maybe the NFL or teams felt like he acted like he was beyond reproach. It rubbed them the wrong way, and they tried to teach him a lesson. They tried to teach him that there is nothing bigger than the shield. You're not bigger than an organization that you're going to be drafted to. So they ended up allowing him to sit and think about what happened and what transpired, and they tried to humble him. But the problem is, you can't humble somebody that is unapologetically themselves. You may not like the way that Shedeur Sanders carries himself. You may think that he's confident or too confident. Maybe one of those guys that don't feel like, I'm just glad and happy to be here, right? I guess you want him to be humble hat in hand, but he don't carry himself like that because he believes in his ability. He believes in his skills. He believes that he has something to bring to the table, and that is pride. The man has pride, and I don't understand why any team would shy away from someone who has that type of confidence. And I just don't understand how a team like the Cleveland Browns, who have been in quarterback purgatory for I don't know how long, are acting like Shedeur Sanders isn't the answer to their problems. I have nothing against Joe Flacco. He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He has played in a lot of football games throughout his career. But at this stage in Joe Flacco's career, this is not the move if you're trying to be a progressive organization. Shedeur Sanders checks all the boxes. He gives you hope. He gives the fan base hope. He has a belief in himself. He's willing to get his hands dirty to try to transform how people may look at the Cleveland Browns organization. And I can actually relate to that because his first stop was my alma mater, Jackson State University. And during the time when he and his father, Coach Prime Shedeur Sanders, came to Jackson State, they needed a shot in the arm. And they left Jackson State in a much better state than when they found it. And last time I checked, that type of momentum that they brought to Jackson State helped them to become, as of right now, the HBCU national champions. Shouts out to Mr. T.C. Taylor, the head coach. But all I'm saying is the guy understands how to go out here to get his grind on, and he's not afraid of a challenge. And anybody that feels like Shedeur Sanders wasn't good enough to hear his name in the first couple of rounds, well, maybe you just don't like the way that he carries himself. But that's not good enough for me. The guy believes in himself. He has really good skills. He's accurate. And he's going to turn your team into a winner because he's a winner. Plain and simple. And he has the skills to come with it. There is some validity behind what Eric Dickerson said. May not like it, but in my opinion, we don't have to accept it. It's just amazing to me that people are acting like this is news. Like everybody knew that there was some level of collusion, some type of something going on behind the scenes. Like you already knew this. So I'm glad that Eric Dickerson came out, a well-respected guy, a well-respected legend in the National Football League, to shed light on something that pretty sure a lot of people already knew.